Yo, 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 welcome back to the most interactive wrestling show on the interweb. Welcome back to Wrestling with Omer. I am your host with the roast and the most and the toast. Although I did not have toast this morning. I'm Omer Q. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and NBs everywhere. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. It is June 15th, 2025, and I have so much I want to talk to you about today. We have the potential return for the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. It is official. Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega one-on-one winner take all at AEW All in Texas. And, of course, we're going to talk about Jey Uso losing the WWE World Heavyweight Championship and Rikishi's insane reaction. All that and much more coming up right here. The game, global brand, Fiend. I say Fiend. I swear, if I ever hear that song with Travis Scott coming out, man, and I'm at a WWE show, someone's getting hurt. I mean, it's probably gonna be me. Someone's getting hurt. Nah, let me stop. Anyway, what's going on, guys? What's up, Wall Street money? Hopefully you're doing well. How are things up in good old Canada? Yeah, a lot to talk about today. Hope everyone's having a wonderful one. Bit of a weird week as far as news goes. Like, we obviously had the big world title change earlier in the week. John Cena's heel turn, and it has been what it is. I see Michelle in the chat. Which has been worse, John Cena heel run or the Death Rider story? I will say this. Despite the fact that the Death Rider story has gone on longer. Here's the thing. Over time, I've definitely hated the Death Rider story more. That being said, if we're looking at like the grander, historical significance, I think people will forget about the Death Rider story eventually. Like it is like, it is what it is. It kind of sucked, but it's still like, all right, whatever. The John Cena heel run and messing up the John Cena heel run is something that I don't think fans are going to forget for a while. I certainly will not be forgetting how god-awful and dog poop this has been. I can see Hangman winning the title All In, but in like a Mania 40 situation, I can see Darby, Sting, Danielson helping him win the belt. I could see Danielson doing some sort of integration, although given what he said this week, maybe that is not in the cards. But we'll take a look at Bryan's comments in a sec. Getting drunk off maple syrup. Ha. It's funny I'm drinking this out of a Las Vegas cup. There's coffee in here, I promise. Roll Tide. Anyway, let's just dive into the crash outs first. So there was a big crash out, obviously, by the one, the only Big Quiche, Rikishi, as they call him. Or I think JR used to call him, it's Rikishi. So it was like Rikishi. Or is it Rikishi? Chat, let me know in the chat. Is it Rikishi or is it Rikishi? Because I'm used to saying Rikishi, but like I know JR back in the day used to be like, oh my god, look at this big old son of a bitch, Rikishi. Maybe it was like it's Samoan, just like The Rock. That sounds like something that WWE would do. I watched Dominion this morning. Very excited about to catch this future. I have not had a chance to see Dominion just yet. Looks like I'm dropping frames for some reason. Don't know why, but we'll figure that out. Hopefully we don't got that many L's in the chat for that. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to see Dominion yet. But I will probably watch it. If not today, probably like tomorrow at some point. Rikishi did steal the Off the Top name. Shout out to my boys over at Kiss the Ring, formerly known as Off the Top. What do you think of the new AEW title? It looks beautiful. I'll share my thoughts on the unified belt. I have very specific thoughts about that belt. Specifically in that I wish they kind of kept the international belt. But we'll talk about that. Am I still lagging? Is that a thing that's happening? I don't know. Maybe I am. Let me know if I'm not. All right. Let's just dive right in. So earlier this week, we saw the big angle that WWE did on Raw. We saw that Jey Uso, yes, Big Daddy Yeet, himself, Jey Uso, lost the WWE World Heavyweight Championship to Gunther. And as a result, one of the first things I will say that I said in reaction to this over on Twitter, by the way, go follow me at RealOmerQ. But one of the first things that I said in reaction to the news was that, by God, here it is. I was finally able to find it. But was this. That Rikishi podcast is going to be insane this week. And boy, oh boy, was it. So without further ado, let's hear right from Big Quiche himself. Let's hear from the man, the myth, the legend, Big Daddy Quiche. Before that, let's hear from Wall Street Money. 4 letters, 1 word. Lost. All right. All right, let's see. Here's what Big Daddy Quiche had to say.
Champion. I didn't think it was justice. I didn't think it was fair. 51 days, that was it. I mean, in a Continental Belt, a short run, that was it. Like, what is it? What is it against my boy that you just feel like when you had done that to Randy Orton? If you threw the belt on Randy Orton for him, would you have done that to, John Cena? I mean, let's talk about it. Because last I knew, the last time we seen WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas, damn it, he had the whole arena. The whole arena. Yeet. Yeet, yeet, yeet your motherfucking ass yeet. So come on. Come on. Somebody tell me. Tell me, what is it? The bloodline has gave our heart and soul to this industry. 75 plus years. Past, present, and future. And goddamn it, this is the way we treat it. This is the way y'all look at us. This just ain't right, man. Ain't right. We've never been a problem. We've always been the source. The last I knew, the bloodline, from Roman Reigns all the way down to the Usos, continuing on to Sepha, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu. The last I knew, back when it was COVID, fans were on the screen of TV. Who kept WWE afloat? Come on. You want to talk? Y'all want to go there? Let's go facts, man. Let's do facts.
Well, all right. You know what? Let's do some facts here, because there's look. I want to before I get into cooking them a little bit, which we will do. I will say this: as a dad, as a father, I'm not a dad, but Rikishi being a father is something I get him being sensitive about the way his son would be booked. Rikishi being a dad, I understand why, 51-day title reign? Really? I could understand how, as a dad, Rikishi looks at that and is like, that doesn't seem right. Why is my boy getting the short end of the stick? When Roman, when he was the world champion, he was champion for 3-4 years. When Cody was champion for a year. When you have all these guys going out there and putting on performances. Yet my kid, Big Daddy Yeet himself, Jey Uso, is the one who's for whatever reason, not being portrayed in the way that I believe he should. All right. Understood. Big Daddy Quiche, understood. Now, there's a couple of things that Rikishi said here that I do want to just quickly fact check, right? Because there's some shenanigans that he put in here about would they do this to John Cena. I think that was the first big thing that he said Would they do this to John Cena? Would they do this to Randy Orton? And that got me thinking when I first heard it, and I was like, all right, what was, before this recent John Cena title reign, because it's still ongoing, all right, what was Randy Orton and John Cena's last previous title reigns? What were they? How long were they, right? For John Cena, his last title reign, you have to go back to 2017. He won it at the Royal Rumble from the phenomenal He won it at the Rumble in San Antonio, and he held it for a whopping 14 days. 14 days. So what did they do to John Cena? It seems like it. Then, let's take a look. Randy Orton's on here a couple of times here, all right? Randy Orton's 9th world title win, his WWE title win, I should say. He lost it after 49 days. Then he won it again later on in COVID. I even forgot about this. I had to go back into the vault of COVID, which I hate doing. And his last title reign was 22 days. Okay? Would they do this to John Cena? Would they do this to Randy Orton? Yes. Now, is it the same? Is that what I think Rikishi's trying to say? In part, I think. But I also think part of him is like, forget the specifics of like, would they number of days or whatever, right? But, he wanted to talk about facts, so I showed him facts. Part of me is like, all right, Rikishi is am I cutting in and out? And let me know if I'm cutting in and out. But part of me is like, all right, Rikishi is out here and he's trying to say that my son, Jey Uso, is not getting the same level of respect as these other guys. And while I understand the sentiment behind it, the fact of the matter is, Jey Uso, even though he is a merch machine, and that is like, I would say his biggest asset right now is his ability to get people to buy merch and eat, all that. He's just not as good as those guys. He's not as good as John Cena. He's not as good as Randy Orton. He's not as good as Roman Reigns. My mic keeps cutting? Really? All right, let's try. Oh man, what happened to the video? Uh-oh. Here we go now. See, this is we love technical difficulties, fam. We love some good old technical difficulties. All right. Am I like, oh man, I'm gone on everything right now. That's crazy. Man, I was in the middle of a fire rant too. 4 letters, 2 words. Real take. Yeah, well, hold up. Give me a second, guys. Let's see what's going on here. We will figure this out. Even if there's a fire, I will figure this out. All right, hold. There it is. We're back, baby. What's up? All right. Hopefully, I'm not cutting in and out now. Hopefully, everything's good. Excuse me. Apologies for the technical difficulties. Just need to make sure everything's working. Anyway, so Big Daddy Quiche, right? My boy, Big Rikishi. He's talking about like Jey Uso, and the fundamental truth is he's not as good as Randy Orton. He's not as good as John Cena. He's not as good as Roman Reigns. He's not as good as The Rock. He's not as good as any of the people that I would say that Rikishi might be trying to put him in. Who's this goblin on my screen? That is racist. How dare you say that? That is racist. Calling a brown man a goblin. Oh my goodness. It's racist. Wall Street money. Stop being a racist. No, I'm just playing. But like, in all seriousness, like, okay, you like your son is just not as good as them in the ring, on the microphone. As far as merch goes, I think he's good. He was largely carried by a fantastic storyline, which was the Bloodline story. And I will say this. Jey Uso, to me, in many ways, was one of the more interesting characters. I say, if you're looking pound for pound throughout the run of that story, Jey Uso, for I would say the better part of a year and a half, him and Sami Zayn were by far the most interesting characters in that story. Roman, to me, has always been a bit of a bland character because for whatever, like he's got aura, but he's been a bit of a bland character. But when that Bloodline story was heating up, when they were really going out there and putting on the best segment on SmackDown every single week, it was because of Jey. It was because of Sami. And that you can't take away from Jey. That doesn't mean that because of that, he's a main eventer. All right? And Rikishi wants to talk about, oh, my family's been treated this way, that way. I'll be honest. There is so much Bloodline Anoa'i influence over WWE. There's more influence over Anoa'i influence over WWE today than there's ever been in prominent roles. You have Jacob Fatu rejuvenating the United States Championship. You have Solo Sikoa being a premier heel on SmackDown. Think of him what he will, but he's in that spot. You have Roman Reigns. Whenever he comes back, he is going to be the big dog, their tribal chief, the OTC as they call him. You got The Rock, who is the final boss. He's always looming over everything. Jey Uso is just the world champion. Jey Uso just won the Royal Rumble by eliminating John Cena. So what are we talking about? You know, like genuinely, when Rikishi says that, oh, my family doesn't get treated, like, what are we talking about? You know? I understand you're upset. I understand all that, but like, come on, what are we talking about here? I'm talking facts. And like, it's hard to ignore, right? Because it became a meme. Everyone's like, oh, Rikishi's podcast is going to be crazy. He has a bit of a tendency to talk about his kids for that podcast, a name which he stole from my boys. Well, he allegedly stole from my boys, Kenny Bomb, Just Bryan, Mr. Dubs, Clint, and UTV and everybody over there over at Off the Top. Shout out to him. But, yeah, I don't know. Again, all I will say is, man, shout out to Rikishi. I hope he got the clicks, but I don't think he offered that much as far as opinion goes. In your opinion, who's the best wrestler that turned from a tag team to a main event player? It depends what you mean by that. Like, there have been definite, like, wrestlers who were tag team wrestlers, like, for a little bit at least, but were maybe not synonymous as that, who went on to have great singles career. If we're talking about someone who is, like, popularly known as a tag team wrestler, who then transitioned to being a singles wrestler and was great, is Shawn Michaels. Like, that's just, I think it's Shawn Michaels easily. The other person, I mean, I guess you can kind of say this about Sting. Well, because of the whole, like, when they were the Dingo Warriors, or not the Dingo Warriors, not the Roadrunners? The Roadrunners, no. Blade Runners, the Blade Runners. That's what they were, the Blade Runners. The Road Runners. Could you imagine Sting and Jim Hellwig going meep meep? Like, could you imagine? The Road Runners is crazy. What got me back in WWE was the Bloodline. It's one of the best storylines in the company. I feel like Triple H completely butchered it. It was really, 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 really good. It was one of the best. If we're looking at spans, right? I would say for a solid year, the Bloodline storyline is the greatest story that WWE's ever told in a year span. I think definitely most people are in agreement. Most people who look at things like seriously are in agreement with the idea that following the SummerSlam where Jey Uso was facing Roman and lost the belt or lost that match, and Jimmy was the reason he lost. I think following that, there was definitely like a significant drop off in the creative there, and that was also around the same time Roman became a genuine part timer because it wasn't good for the story. He's main event because WWE say so by calling him main event Jey Uso, similar to WWE entertaining because calling World Wrestling Entertainment sports entertainment. Yeah, maybe. I think Jay's fine. Like, I think Jay's fine. I like even the world title thing. Like, I'm not against it. I think Jay probably should have beat. Like, I mean, again, I'm in the minority. I think Jay probably should have beaten Roman at SummerSlam since Sammy wasn't the one who beat him. But that's like a whole different thing. I've done many videos on that. Go check that out in the archives. But part of me is looking at this like, you have him win the Rumble. I get it. That's fine. But if you're gonna do that, you got to make him look strong. You got to make him look better. They didn't do that. They did not put Jey Uso in a situation to come across as a legitimate, viable main event player. I put a lot of that on WWE. I put that on partly on Jay's limitations as a singles wrestler. But we saw like when he's in the ring with like Braun Breaker, he can go. It's not like the cleanest, but he can go. But he's had like a couple of matches with Gunther. One of them was good. That was their Saturday night's main event match. But other than that, it's been kind of eh. But that's just kind of how it goes. Hey, Omer, I had a displeasure of hearing Vince Russo. Jesus. We've all had the displeasure of hearing Vince Russo every once in a while. But I had the displeasure of hearing Vince Russo. But his point is that former in-ring talent cannot be leading creative. I don't agree with that. I think Triple H, when he's left to his own devices, is a very good creative mind. I think a lot of this is just he's being pushed in some directions by TKO, and he's capitulated. And I mean, and at that point, I would say like he's also responsible for it. But I think he's just like, I don't have to try that hard. The global brand is he doesn't need to try. He's not pushed. He's not proving himself anymore. I think complacency in general is a much bigger deal when it comes to not being able to lead creative. I think we definitely saw that with Vince McMahon over the years. That was his biggest flaw as far as a creative. He had personal flaws out the wazoo. But in creative, his biggest flaw was complacency, was not being pushed. Triple H, same thing. Tony Khan. I think complacency hit him as well, and it came across on screen. So that's kind of where I feel like that's where I feel like that lies. Who you got winning the Royal Rumble next year? I wonder if All In is going to be back in London next year. All In will be in London next year, confirmed. It's going to be in Wembley. Bank holiday weekend, whatever that week is, like the 24th, I think. August 24th, 25th, something like that. Let's see. 26th, maybe? Let's see. AW All In. Excuse me, guys. Still, I got a cough. Who else is going to All In? I will be there. So if you guys are going to All In, let me know. I'll be there. Okay, they haven't announced the date for 2026, but yes, it will be in Wembley. 100% confirmed. Shane McMahon was always the best one from the family to take over. You definitely won't want it to be The Rock. I mean, I think Shane would have been great. I just, would it have done? We'll just never know. We'll just never know because he was just never around long enough. Excuse me, guys. Watch Hangman win and title ain't in the briefcase. I'd be so mad if they're not running an angle like that. Hangman is gonna win. Hangman Adam Page will win. Confirmed. I'm hoping. I'm praying. I'm yeeting that's the case. I am yeeting that is the case. We got Puff Dutch. I'll be in Arlington, also 300 section with good views of everything. Globe Life Field is beautiful. I've never been to Arlington. I've never been to Dallas. I've never been to Globe Life Field. So all of that will be new to me. I've never been to Texas, period. So I'm looking forward to it. I want to hit up a Buc-ee's when I'm there. They got Buc-ee's in Dallas, right? Do they got? Man, I should start doing research. That's only a month away. It's less than a month away. Do they have Buc-ee's in Dallas, guys? All right, hold up. Is there a Buc-ee's in Dallas? Come on now. There are several Buc-ee's locations. I spelled Buc-ee's wrong. Whoops. In Dallas area, including Fort Worth, Denton, and Melissa. Oh, wow. Shout out to Melissa. Not a bad seat. It ain't really. Yeah, they have it closed for sure. Yeah, I need to hit up a Buc-ee's. Get some, I see some Texas barbecue. Get a taste of that good old Texas freedom. That freedom. Omer about to wear a cowboy hat and boots when he goes to Texas. Nah, that's Kenny Baum. I am a massive Hangman Adam Page fan, but Kenny Baum is a massive Hangman Adam Page mark. And Kenny will be with me. And, look, if y'all tell him to wear cowboy boots, he might do them. He might hit that chicken fry cold, on a Friday night. Anyway, Fort Worth is closest. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna hit one up. I'm gonna try to also hit up. I gotta do the Starcast stuff too. There's a lot of stuff I gotta do. A lot of stuff, a lot of things. Anyway, what are we talking about? All in. It's gonna be a fun time. Do you play video games? Because the new college football is coming out soon. I've been MLB and NHL, but new college football 26 because I did. Yeah, I do from time to time. I have college football 25, the one last year, the new one that came out after like 10 years or whatever. Play Madden. I play FIFA. Yeah, so I'm there with you. I haven't played NHL in a couple of years. I haven't played the show in a couple of years either, but yeah, I'm big on those. I'm excited for the new college football. Always am. We're getting barbecue for the morning of the 12th. Kenny is awesome also. Shout out to Kenny Baum. What are we talking about here? Girl programs. Let's see. Ooh, what are you trying to say here? I'm objectively balancing on the ball. Is this the Shane McMahon question? Or was there like another question predating your other one? I have no idea. Maybe I missed it. Maybe it's not showing up. Yo, convince Kenny Baum not to go, but you have... Yo, convince Kenny Baum not to go. Have you noticed Bryan and Kenny Baum every time they go in the show end up being garbage? That is not true. That is not true. There's a lie. There's damn lies here. All right? We went to Wrestle Dream, me and Kenny. We went to Wrestle Dream, and that was a fun time. I enjoyed it. We went to Full Gear, and that was a fun time. I enjoyed it. We went to Elimination Chamber with Kenny and Bryan, and I had a blast, and it was an awesome ending to the pay-per-view. So, yeah, man, you know what? No. Look, World's End, cooked. L. Major L. That was a major L. Worst AEW pay-per-view of all time. AEW World's End 2023. I'll own up to that. I'll let y'all know. I'll tell you right now. Wasn't good. Can't win with them. Can't be All Out. I went to with Kenny Baum. Fantastic pay-per-view. So let's not do that. I went to Bad Blood too. That was by myself. They were supposed to go, and they left me hanging at the altar. I got on that plane. They were like, haha, that's what we not doing. I was like, all right, bet. It's okay. I had a blast. All I'm saying is, you gotta, bro. Like, okay. Let's be honest. Look at this card. And tell me that they can find a way to F it up. There's 3 matches on there right now. Tony Storm, Mercedes, AEW World's Championship. John Moxley, Hangman Adam Page, AEW World's Championship. Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega. Winner takes all for... We're going to have to talk about that unified champion, the AEW Unified Championship. You know what? It might be time to talk about it. It might be time to cook this title, guys. Actually, now let me find a better picture. Let me find like a close-up picture so I can cook this title crisply. We got Balance on the ball in the chat saying AEW All Out last year was my favorite. Yep. I thought it was fantastic as well. All right. Excuse me. So, big news this past week in the form of the AEW Unified Championship. So it was announced that moving forward, there would be one unified AEW champion. Excuse me. And here's the thing. Wall Street Money, I'm also not a fan of the title. I understand look. This is like the NWA World Tag Team Championship. For those of you who don't know, like that, or at least that's what it reminds me of. The OG Tag Team Championship. Let me see if I can find an OG version of it. Or at least like that's what it reminded me of. Anyway, okay. But all this is besides the point. I don't know why I'm going on these weird tangents. Anyway, let's talk about the title, and then
I am going to ruin wrestling.
I had to get one in there. Let's talk about the title first, guys. So, awesome segment this past week on Dynamite. Kazuchika Okada, a long-time enemy of Kenny Omega. And Kenny Omega, they signed their AEW winner-take-all contract. It was revealed, the Unified Championship. After that, Don Callis came out. And the interesting thing about that whole affair is Don Callis has always been tied at the hip throughout the entire feud he had between Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada. He's been tied at the hip with Kenny. He has always been on Kenny's side. He's always been on commentary for those matches. I believe getting him on commentary was like a big motivation for that. But I also believe that, it is doing something that was once thought of as impossible. Like, this was a massive moment. If you watched New Japan in 2016, 2017, 2018, seeing Don Callis against Kenny, like in allegiance with Kazuchika Okada against Kenny Omega is something that's like unfathomable. And it happened. And then the attack was insane. Kenny Omega with the big blood. I know some people are like, oh my God, look at all that blood. Oh, it's so fake. I'm like, bro, look, his intestines were literally falling out of him. That's the whole thing. I thought it was a good visual. I thought it was a good shot. It's wrestling. It's wrestling, guys. Anyway. Unified title, though. I'm not a fan of it. Point blank, I am not a fan of this belt. It looks very shiny. In this light, with the amount of Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator they have done on it, it looks a lot nicer than it did on TV. It's a very small championship. It reminds me, I know I said the NWA World Tag Team title, or the OG ones, but it also reminds me of the original AEW Women's Championship. And I hated that title too, because it was like, this is like, why is it so tiny? Why does it look like a literal toy? You couldn't get them something better? That's how I feel about this. Especially when you're coming from I don't like the Continental Championship design. Like, it's fine, it's whatever. But the international title is like genuinely such a nice title. It is such a nice title. Genuinely a nice title. International title, AEW. Like look at it. Like, that is it's a beautiful belt. Like, that is just a beautiful ass belt. And we're going from this and this, for that matter, to that. Not a fan of it. Not a fan of it. I don't like the belt. Also, I'm like, it's not going to look good on anyone. It's so tiny. It's like, you know what it is? I don't really care for it. Much like people who are watching the stream and don't hit that like button. I don't really care for it. Smash that thumbs up, people. It looks like some championship in New Japan Pro Wrestling as well. Yeah. It's still not as bad as the New Japan World Championship. It's like, I hate the winged New Japan title. I hate it. Mostly because New Japan had the most perfect championship belt of all time, and they just like gave it up for no reason. Like the golden era New Japan World Championship is one of the most beautiful championships ever. I have to make a confession. I'm from the UAE, and I think it's great that CM Punk is coming to the region in Saudi, but I agree he opened himself to criticism from past comments. Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe I feel like I've been pretty clear about like my stance on this. Like, I like my stance has always been that what the aspect of the relationship I don't like between WWE and Saudi Arabia is the sports washing propagandistic side of it. Like trying to propagandize a regime that is just oppressive and has done the things that MBS's Saudi Arabia has done, under the guise of like change when it's not really change. That and like the what has happened in Yemen has given me a lot. Like I've been a lot more like strong about my position on this. And like the whole CM Punk thing is like, I think Punk is one of those guys that means well, but when you go 10 toes down on something like that, right? When you to go 10 toes down on something like that, and you say that, Miz, you can go suck a blood money covered dick or whatever, and then you come back around and you're hypocritical about it and you do the same thing. I don't know, man. Makes you look bad. That's not to say like that, and you could very well say like, well, there's all these other wrestlers. There's Seth Rollins, there's Sami Zayn, there's Kevin Owens. They all go every year. Fair point. But at no point have they publicly said that I'm not going to go. That's a separate conversation we can have about each of those wrestlers or anyone who does that. But the thing is, Punk has said that, and they're making it part of the storyline, so they want people to talk about it. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, that's my thoughts on the Punk thing. Like, yeah, I mean, it is like stand on business. If you're gonna stand on business, stand on business. You know, that's my thing, and that doesn't mean you can't go to Saudi Arabia. Like I'm Muslim. One day I will need to go to Saudi Arabia. Like for Hajj. At one point I will need to go. I'm going to go. It's going to happen, right? But that doesn't mean that I'm doing it with a stated purpose of trying to help a pretty evil regime rehabilitate their image, right? I'm not gonna do that. I hope you're okay with me giving my thoughts on pro wrestling. Everyone, give your thoughts on everything, man. This is no. I'm just sharing my perspective. I got no. I think everyone's entitled to feel how they want to feel about this, and some people don't want to and I understand some people not wanting to even touch the whole sports watching aspect of it. I totally get it. I just always it's something I've always talked about. It's something I've always cared about, and I just don't see a reason to not talk about it for me. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the Punk situation. But yeah, seriously, always give your thoughts, man. Always look for your thoughts. It's conversation. It's what we do here. What we do. CM Punk will go down as the biggest hypocrite in all of wrestling. CM Punk is, look, all in all, he's probably one of the bigger hypocrites. But yeah, it's still me. Hulk Hogan is one hell of a guy. Like he's next level tier, Hall of Fame level hypocrite and liar. New AEW title should have been called the AEW Global Championship or the Unified Global Championship. Other than that, the title is lovely. Yeah, I'm just, you know what? It's the size, man. It is the look. I'm not saying. Look, maybe I am saying. Maybe, yeah, I'm. You know what, guys? I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it, guys. Size does matter. All right, when we're talking about a championship, size does matter. Like, come on now. What's going on? What's going on here, bro? What is this? I don't want to see Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada walking around with this little toy belt. Come on, what are we talking about here? Size matters here. Come on, we're talking about belts. You gotta have the biggest, most beautiful belt. The most beautiful belt. You gotta have that. You gotta have the beautiful belt. Big beautiful belt. I don't like the other big beautiful thing they got going on right now, but big beautiful belt, I'm here for it. We got Punk said he's here to make money, seen as the only person I dislike more than him in wrestling. Like for a shoot or a work? I actually like the new AEW title. It looks beautiful, and next year WrestleMania, I have Punk winning the World Heavyweight Championship and Fatu winning the WWE title. Jacob Fatu winning the WWE Championship would be a very, very interesting move. But I'm very, very interested. Very, very interested. Did someone in the chat just call him CM Unk? I feel like I may have skipped over that. Did someone call CM Punk CM Unk? Because that's crazy, but so true. So true. Next year, I have Travis Scott winning the belt. Well, he's got his own belt. Doesn't Travis Scott have his own belt? Like I know The Rock has his People's World Championship, but I'm pretty sure Travis Scott doesn't he have his own like little the Fiend title. The Fiend title. I'm a fiend. Excuse me. Still getting over this cough, people. Made me appreciate Ryback. What made you appreciate Ryback? He didn't mean that. I'm serious. Punk and Cena wrestling a lot. Ruined wrestling for a lot of people. It's weird. I think like Punk was the one who brought me into wrestling. Cena like is probably one of the people who like ruined watching wrestling for me. Which like
I am going to ruin wrestling.
You already did it like 20 years ago, bro. But that's besides the point. Anyway. All right, guys, let's move on. Let's talk about my boy, the American Dragon. Keep the chats coming. Be sure to smash that thumbs up so more people see the stream. Let's talk about my boy, the American Dragon. Y'all ever see? Oh man, every time I talk about Bryan now, I always like think about the American Dragon, Jake Long. Which, for those of you who don't know, fantastic show over on the Disney Channel back in the day. Actually, that was like one of the reasons I liked Bryan, because I was like, oh, he's got a dope name like the American Dragon, Jake Long. I used to watch that show all the time. I used to sing that song. He's the American Dragon. Shout out to the American Dragon, Jake Long. Shout out to that show. Anyway, but the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, the one true dragon of professional wrestling, said the following in an interview with, I want to get this right, the Daily Migs Show. So he's on the Daily Migs Show. Bryan said the following on If You'll Ever Wrestle Again. I don't know, but right now I'm not clear to wrestle. Even if I wanted to, if I said, hey, I'm going to be there, I will be there in Kent, I will be there live in front of people, but probably not on television. It'll just be for the people live. So Bryan Danielson basically saying that he is not cleared to wrestle. He is saying that he has said before that he has an injury. He is, whatever. He's not feeling well, or as far as his neck goes. So for me, I'm hearing this, and part of me wants to take Bryan at his word, but part of me is also like, Bryan Danielson has been known to be a bit of a troll. He's been a bit of a troll when he wants to be. And I'm just gonna leave this here. Oh well, I'm just gonna leave this here for a little bit, guys. This is who we're dealing with. This is the man, the dragon, the troll that we are dealing with. Bryan Danielson saying that he is not going to be wrestling anytime soon, or he's not clear to wrestle. Just remember, it's the same man who made this face, knowing exactly what would happen when he did. Bryan Danielson is a troll. And I believe he will be doing something physical at All In. Whether it's a match or not, we will see. But I do believe he will be at All In. I mean, he's going to be at All In. Maybe he gets involved in the Hangman match and helps Hangman Adam Page even the odds. But maybe he wrestles Wheeler Yuta. A lot of things on the table here. Bryan was a machine like Kurt Angle, bro. Shout out to Peak Angle. Shout out to Peak Angle back in TNA. Objectively, I agree. They both compare themselves as a startup. It says more about WWE going downward than about AEW. Elite ball knowledge. That's what I do, man. Anyway, I think Bryan's probably going to be there. Or I would expect. I would fully expect Bryan to be. I think he's going to wrestle. But that's just me, That's just me. What else we got, guys? What else you want to talk about? You all know what it is. Leave your questions in the chat. You got a comment, a consign, let me know. You guys can also guarantee your question or statement is read out and answered live on the air by leaving a super chat as well. I still need to watch Dominion. Yo, like, is there like a... Hold on, let me... Oh, wait, what? Hey, yo, wait. Nah. I'm probably gonna get cooked by New Japan or TV Asahi for this, but nah, look at my boy Tanahashi. Look at my boy Tanahashi. Ah! What do you got here? Best Bryan Danielson match and best feud. Best match. I'll give you so best and favorite are different, right? I will, if you're asking me my favorite match, it would be Bryan versus Swerve at Wembley. The best Bryan match I've ever seen was probably Bryan versus Kenny at Grand Slam. Best feud? Okay. Best Bryan feud. I really, really liked Bryan versus MJF. I really enjoyed Bryan versus MJF. But there were just so many times in that feud he had with you know what? No. I was gonna say Bryan versus Randy, but like, man, I just really hated some of this stuff. Like they had some great moments in between. I thought they had really good chemistry together, but all right, yeah, I gotta give it to Bryan and MJF. That's probably my favorite. We got a super chat. Thank you. We got a super chat from Jared Clark saying Tony Khan should push some of his underutilized female talent. Examples: Anna Jay, Sky Blue, Julia Hart. Put titles on them. 100,000 million billion kazillion babillion shabalabadoo shabalabading million zen agree. Shout out to Austin Powers, gold member, for that reference. But I 100% agree. I think there's a reason why you are seeing so many tag team matches between the women as of recently. Between these four women specifically that you mentioned, there is no coincidence in that. I think they are building up to add the AEW women's tag team titles. Something that I believe has been long overdue. Something that I think will help get more women over, put them in prominent roles. And I think that's what we're doing. And that is a way to push them. That is a way to tell interesting stories. That is a way to keep people in the mix. That is a way to keep people's favorite characters and wrestlers in the mix. And that is the way to evolve those characters. I think we are on the cusp of seeing that. And you know what? I think that is the way to go. You already have two like singles women's championships, which I think is enough for the singles scene. But you add in a tag team picture, again, like with Ty Mello and Anna Jay, who have great chemistry as a tag team, fantastic chemistry as a tag team, going up against Julia Hart and Sky Blue, who I think are going to show a lot of people. I think there's a lot in there for that. What do you think of the idea, as a follow-up, what do you think of the idea of an AEW International Women's Championship? I would be fine with that if they switched up like the name of the TBS title to that or something. I just don't think that there's room right now for another. There's not enough room for another singles women's championship. Like I would argue that even having like for the men, right? Like what is the TNT championship right now? What was the Continental title before? Like a month ago. What do you mean? I mentioned Ty Mello. If I didn't, I'm mentioning now Ty Mello. But yeah, no. I mean, I think that there will be a AEW. If they rename the belts, I just think they have so many championships right now. Like, I'm even for consolidating the men's belts right now. I think you need to have a little more focus right now if you're AEW. Bigger is not better. You don't have a brand split. I don't think you have room for more than two in each scene, right? But a way I think would make things interesting is adding a women's championship picture and doing it better than WWE, because we know WWE has not had a lot of success in booking women's tag team wrestling. But I would be down for it if they did a brand split. If they did like a clean brand split, I'd be down for it. Will the Young Bucks go against Ospreay and Swerve It All In? Yeah, I could see that. I could totally see that. You have to call them duos because they have a trios, which is also a tag team belt. I'd do a 4-way ladder match at All In with Anna Tai becoming the inaugural champions versus Megan Penelope versus, excuse me, Sky and Julia versus Willow and Sat. Ooh, that's a ladder match with them would be crazy. I mean, I'm not big on ladder matches anymore because I hate the bumps people take in those matches. Like, even watching Money in the Bank, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is a great match and all, but man, we got to stop dropping people on their heads. Yeah, anyway, if no one gets dropped on their head on a ladder, I'm fine with it, I guess. But I think here's the thing. If you look at like AEW tag team women's wrestling, like Ty Mello and Anna Jay have been the people who have kind of led the way in that, right? They have been the ones to kind of lead the path forward for that entire like concept of women's tag team wrestling in AEW. Like, they used to have some killer matches against the likes of like Willow and I think like Stat or the Bunny and Penelope Ford on Rampage. Like, those Rampage matches, like those Rampage hardcore matches they used to have were insane. I remember there was one at a Dynamite or a Rampage Homecoming in Jacksonville that absolutely blew my mind. So, yeah. You think AEW should do its own evolution, or the roster is not that deep enough yet? I think the roster with what they have in Stardom and CMLL, is definitely deep enough for it. AEW needs to market it a lot, though. They need to market the shit out of it. I worry that my thing is, I worry that they would kind of either save the marketing for very last minute, which is something they have a propensity to do, or they just wouldn't go balls to the walls right off the bat of announcing it, which I think, like, as far as like ticket sales go, the two times that you really see tickets move are right at the beginning and right at the end for AEW. You need to be able to take advantage of that as soon as possible. Announce a big match, like a main event, like God tier wrestling fantasy match that no one could have seen coming. That's how you make that pay-per-view work for where AEW is right now. Who do you have in Okada, Omega? I got Omega. If there are no Don Callis shenanigans, Omega will win. If there are, Okada will win. And I am of the opinion that there shouldn't be. I think this should be a clean match. But we will see. There's a lot to get to. A lot to talk about. A lot that could happen. Many things. All the things. You notice AEW call when Callis and Okada ran out in the car? It's just like when... Yeah. It's just like when Kenny won the title. It's like, come on, we gotta go. We gotta go. The false sense of urgency is crazy. We also have, I believe, an all-in ticket update, right? I think so. Let's see. Let's take a look at our friends over at WrestleTix. By the way, guys, WrestleTix is a fantastic source for all wrestling ticket information. You want to see anything about attendance, WrestleTix is the place to go. Let's see. So we got AEW, Collision, and Dynamite at the OVO Hydro. That is the week of All In. All Forbidden Door, excuse me. That is the week of Forbidden Door. In August, they're going to be over in Scotland. So They sold 5,000 tickets, set up for 6,000. So good house there. They're gonna have a good house there. You know that arena is going to be very lively. You got SmackDown doing well. This was Summer Blockbuster last week. They had 3,000. I will say this. For AEW, given where they're at, they're not going to be selling out like 10, 15,000 a week for these big arenas. But if you want to take advantage of the amenities, you want to take advantage of the big email list, and you also want to like have a more compact setting, I think the setup they had for this arena in Portland at the Moda Center, which is like a big, like almost is an NBA level arena. I think the setup they had here was cool because you got that big wide shot of like the crowd right there, multiple levels. But it was a more intimate and like compact setting. I think that I would be interested to see if they do this at other larger venues moving forward. Okay, so this is where we were for All In Texas just 4 days ago. 4 days ago, they were at 7. Oh, is this showing? This is not showing. I'm sorry. 4 days ago, they were at 17,485. They're definitely going to hit 20,000 before showtime. They're looking at the ticket map here. You can kind of see like what they've kind of changed the setup. Originally, there was like a long ramp leading to the ring here, but I think that there's definitely been a change here where they're kind of like covering up this entire section to try to make a bigger stage here. And I think that's a good idea. Like, have this be like what you're going to do. Like, that is good. You're going to have like 20 potentially upwards of 25,000 people there. Make it look good. Make it look nice. Make it feel nice. Make the atmosphere awesome. What do we got here? Did you buy your tickets for All In? Not yet. Kenny Baum and I still have to do that, but plane tickets have been purchased. Hotels may or may not have been booked. We don't know. But I will be there. Any word on WBD's technology putting AEW's SLEs on HBO Max? Your word is as good as mine on this. There has not been an update. I know eventually they're supposed to go there, or that was the goal at one point, but no dice there. I think there was even... It was reported somewhere. I have to look back at where it was because I don't want to misquote anyone, but I believe it was reported at one point that All In was going to be an HBO exclusive event, which I thought would have been really good to help drive people to HBO Max. That has not been announced as far as I know. I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, it is they're building up All In as a as something you can watch on Triller and all those. It says here All In will be broadcast on pay-per-view and marks 2 of the first AEW pay-per-views to be held in Texas. Yeah, so it's going to be on pay-per-view. I assume that means over there. We got just Bryan, WWE over AEW, take it easy. Just like Bryan's been taking those checks from WWE pretty easily. Although those checks didn't cash for a while. My boy was really down on WWE for a minute. But then Triple H hit him up like, yeah, look, we're a global brand. All that money we saved with these contracts, we're going to give you a cut. You just gotta start talking that shit. Which is exactly what Bryan's doing. But shout out to Bryan. Go subscribe to his channel, guys. He's a good guy. Mistaken about wrestling, but when it comes to wrestling games, there's no one better except Kenny Baum. Anyway, the WWE shilling here. Here we go. Goldberg All In. Okay, now I know he's lying. Bryan fucking hates Goldberg. My boy came in here trolling. But hey man, when, not if, Bryan, not if, but when Goldberg beats Gunther, I want you to be talking that same talk in this chat. Bryan's actually going to actually no. I think Bryan's coming to Toronto with us for All Out. I think. I don't know. Maybe. But we'll talk about that later. But shout out to Bryan, man. Go subscribe to his channel. Go subscribe to Kenny Bomb. Go subscribe to youtube.com/KissTheRingYT to see all of his lame takes. It's my boy. Love him. Anyway, what else we got, guys? What else we want to talk about? Is there anything else you got to talk about? Because if not, I'm hungry. Conformed. My boy hit that conformed. It's crazy. Oh, man. Hey, Bryan, what do you think about Rikishi, though? What do you think about my boy Rikishi? Sorry, Big Daddy Quiche going off on Hunter. What do you think about that? Let me know in the chat because I'm interested. Also, bro, someone said that R-Truth here looks like Norman Osborn from the Spider-Man animated series. And low-key, I cannot unsee it. He do kind of look like Norman Osborn with like the hair. Like, hold on, let me see. So you got R-Truth here. We got Norman Osborn over here. Pay no attention to Willem Dafoe. Pay attention to the other Norman Osborns, the animated ones. I'm just like, yeah, you know what? The hair, that's kind of what the hair be doing right now. Kind of what the hair be doing right now. What's up, Taco Kid? Good to see you, my friend. Rikishi never complains about Jimmy or Solo's booking. Yeah, because it's not good for clicks. It's like, what you want? It's not good for clicks. People see Jey Uso. That's why I said, man, Jey Uso is a merch machine. It's good for the SEO, all that good stuff. But you ain't talking about no Jimmy. Ain't nobody care about Jimmy. What about Jay? Must be that time to cycle. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. That is, okay. Watching Goldberg versus Gunther instead of Okada versus Omega is crazy. Yeah, I mean, objectively, that is the truth. Objectively, that is a medical diagnosis, in my view. Like a psychiatric diagnosis that I think needs to be upheld. Day one is just me, Oos. No title belt, just me, Oos. No world champ, just me, Oos. Yeeting to myself. Like my boy Jay, man. Bro, shout out to Jay. You know what? Shout out to Jay. Shout out to main event Jey Uso, bro. Look, he gone. Leave the memories alone. I just want you. Also, I know Hiccup. Okay, so I saw this, right? Shout out to I am Balake. Shout out to I am Balake for the video. So Hikuleo made his debut after like basically a year of being parked on the shelf for no injury. He was just parked on WWE main event. Interesting decision. Because at that point, you're going to park him for a year. I assume you're going to do something interesting with him. You're going to do something big with him. You're going to do maybe put him in with Solo, put him in whatever, you know? But wasn't the case. Just had him go on main event. Oh, he's on main event. WWE. Presented by Dude White. Whatever. Anyway, whatever. All right. That was a choice. That's all I'm going to say. That was a choice. They need to stop the what chance. Yep. Worst chant in wrestling history. The worst chant in wrestling history. I fucking hate the what chance. If Full Gear or World's End goes to Newark, I'm there. I can see them come back. I think they're definitely going to come back to either Newark or Long Island for a pay-per-view this year. They always sell well. I think they've kind of understood that, like, when it comes to big shows in big markets for them, which are like, you know, New York, Chicago, LA, you know, Texas or such, they're always going to sell well. Toronto, again, is another one. London. I think you're going to see AEW kind of lean into those for those big shows. And I could see Newark. I could see New York. We pump our fists, not our gas in Newark, though. I could see that. Tony Khan needs to invest in the girls division, bolster, freshen it up. Tessa, Shotzi, Lania, Eliana? For, one second, more coffee. Yeah. I think the women's division could help. Omer, man, wrestling company wants to come to Baltimore. I mean, yeah, look, AEW came to Baltimore. They got a decent house. There's like 3,000 something in there. That's a decent house for them. Main event Jey Uso, who didn't main event Mania or defend his title on a PLE. That's a damning statement right there. I gotta admit, that's a damning statement. So Jeff Cobb in the back with the sunglasses. Yeah. I think Jeff Cobb, he's got that. The kids these days, Bryan included, just be talking about, I don't like wrestling, but he got that aura. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, he just makes me feel good on the inside. But apparently that's what sells in WWE. So shout out to him. But Jeff Cobb is an insane wrestler. That Jeff Cobb Bronson Reed match is gonna go crazy in WWE. It's gonna go crazy. Yeah. What else you want to talk about, guys? I'm heading down the home stretch. I'm gonna head out in a little bit so I can eat some food, enjoy my Sunday, relax, and not talk about professional wrestling. No, I always like talking about professional wrestling. By the way, I do that every single day, basically, at this point. Both here and over on youtube.com/WrestleVibes. Quick plug for my other channel, youtube.com/WrestleVibes. A lot of great content over there. I just came out with a video about CM Punk's and his experience at WWE being a success. I also talked about him being a freaking liar for the Saudi stuff. A great video on Hangman Adam Page. A lot of cool stuff over here. As you can see, a bit of a dry spell. The algo has not been friendly, but y'all can go over there and help out. youtube.com/WrestleVibes. Girls division, tag division, there's a lot more money. Yeah, I think so, sure. CM Punk, when it comes to being a hypocrite, insert LeBron James' name here. Who was it? Was it LeBron when he was asked about, my boy was asked about, like, yeah, so you're reading Malcolm X's autobiography. What's your favorite part? He's like, yeah, I'm just starting it off, but there's some stuff in here, and, he's very inspirational. He's the most just platted, just nothing, fluff stuff. What do you think of AEW ROH residencies? Would NXT take the page out of their book? I think so. I think NXT should take the page out of their book. I think they need to get out of the Performance Center for sure. That should be your base of operations for your NXT, but do a residency at the ECW arena. Do a residency in New York, in Chicago, they should do that. And it's paid off for AEW. That residency they did for Collision in Dallas last year is part of the reason why that deal for AEW All in Texas came together, it seems. So it works, and for AEW it's paid off, and these residencies are going to be really good for them. They had a residency in the Hammerstein Ballroom. AEW did, and it worked out. Yeah, you should do it. We got Ryan Davis in chat. What up, Omer? Love your videos, man. I've been keeping up. Man, appreciate you, Ryan. Appreciate you. Shout out to the Panthers, man. Shout out to the Carolina Panthers. I think y'all got a good chance. Y'all got a good chance in that trash division this year to make some damage. Because God knows New Orleans Saints ain't going nowhere. Kellen Moore is one of my favorite players of all time, but he ain't going nowhere with that team. Michael Penix is probably your biggest competition. What else you guys got going on there? Who else in the NFC's out? The Tampa Bay, they're taking a step back this year. The Panthers don't win. It's your own fault. But anyway, shout out to you, man. Good seeing you. Wall Street Money. How many matches will be on All In? Probably 80. Potentially 81. Depending on how Tony feels that day. In all seriousness, I would say pre-show included probably 14. I think that's how many have usually been on All In, if I'm not mistaken. I would hope they would pare it down. I think 10 matches, including the pre-show, would be probably good. But we'll see. Because last year they had, 12? Yeah, so you cut that down to 10 overall. 3 on the pre-show, 7 on the main show. I think it's a good pay-per-view. and it's manageable for what I think Tony will probably end up doing. So let's do that. Man, oh man, oh man. All right, guys. This has been a fun time. Carolina betting the house on Tetero McMillan. Who the fuck is Tetero McMillan? T-Mac. Oh, okay. Yeah, you know what? He did not even register for me in the draft, so I don't know what y'all were thinking doing that. Thoughts on WWE being interested in Private Party? It would make sense. I think Tony kind of dropped the ball with them a couple of times, so it would make sense. I think they would do very well in NXT. 2 matches on the pre-show, 8 on the main show. Yeah, that's fine too. Or 3 on the pre-show, 7 on 10. I think is a good number, regardless if I split it up. Unless you're doing like 5 on the pre-show, 5 on the main show. Okay, like not. Let's not do that. But we'll see. All right, guys. I am tired. I am gonna go eat. I am hungry. I am everything. You guys are also my everything. So thank you guys so much for showing up, showing out, balling up, balling out. I appreciate all of you. If you haven't already done so, be sure to smash that thumbs up. Go check out some of the other videos on the channel. I just did one about what the WBD split. They're splitting into 2 companies. What does that mean for AEW? All of that is explained in my latest video. Please go check that out. I also did a video about why WWE does not care about you. Some of y'all may not like it, but it's controversy creating a lot of other stuff. Anyway, let me know. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of all of this. Be sure to check out the channel. Hit that like button. Happy Father's Day to everyone out there. Happy Father's Day to everyone who's a father. And if inshallah one day you're going to be a father, happy Father's Day to you too prematurely. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, be happy, be healthy, and as always, keep it real.